great start to a new week, probably sleeping, resting for your day, your busy week work, um, getting your week started by getting you some good sleep. Let me see what time it is. Hold on one second. Thank you for joining me. Oh, Lordy. Yep, it's after midnight. Live number 2. There's been some talk pertaining to this man and his photograph. Before I get to that, I want to talk about true crime for just a second. As most of you know, I have been trying my best to steer away from discussing any true crime scenarios and updates, but I bring you updates only because I've talked about other cases before. So we're going to talk briefly about the selling of true crime and buying of true crime, because they both go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. And then I'll go into my second topic pertaining to this male on the screen. Why would the clerk's office sell photographs of crime scene photos? I don't understand. Why are you doing this? Because, see, what you're doing is you're tampering with the inevitable, which is a trial, if indeed a case goes to trial. So what I'm trying to understand is, how do you all feel about this? Is it ethical to be selling crime scene photos, autopsy pictures, evidence of interrogations of people to the public? Because that's what's been transpiring here lately on YouTube, especially pertaining to the Madeline SoDo case. That's why I'm discussing this. Is that there are YouTubers who have bought information of evidentiary material pertaining to the SoDo case, and it's creepy. It's creepy that one, the court would sell it, because you can't have one without the other. You're selling this to the masses or anyone willing to buy the information. So I guess this is where people have been getting their documents from all this time, pertaining to people's legal affairs, divorces, divorce decrees, financial records. The state says, hey, we're going to make some money. We're not just going to give you this free. You can buy it for a nice finder's fee. So, that never really dawned on me in the past. But I guess that's what's been going on all along. This is how people have been getting information on people. The news, news articles, news magazines, tabloids, whomever, random strangers. But what's more creepy is a stranger doing it. And when I mean stranger, which we're all strangers, let me clarify this. A person that don't have a dog in the race. I can see CNN News, ABC News, those entities wanting to buy personal information. But once again, like I said, it's still creepy. They can't get everything they want from the police, the FBI, TBI, U.S. Marshals, whomever, Sheriff's Department. Okay, I'll go buy the information. Let me see if it's readily available to buy. And the courts are obviously saying, yeah, here, we'll give you this information. This is creepy to me. The court's selling this information and you buying it. Like I said, I can see a news entity buying the information. It's still creepy, even them buying it. But you as a random person buying it and then you're putting it on a platform, and this shit is crazy as hell to me. Because I'm trying to understand, what is the motivation? You're saying, well, I'm trying to get this information out to the public. I want the fans to be aware of what's going on. But that's the point. There's a time and a place for everything for us to be aware. You're forgetting that if this person is going to trial, he or she wants to have a trial jury. You've already tainted the jury with putting this information out. And the information pertaining to the SoDo case is so vile and disgusting. As I had said before in my live stream, just this regurgitation, it's just really horrible that all this information is coming out and he hasn't even gone to trial. Stephen Stearns. He hasn't even gone to trial. And I don't really care for him, naturally, because of the crimes alleged that came out in a public affidavit from the police department, district attorney's office. But this other stuff that's floating around, interrogations, private interviews, things that we hadn't gotten a chance to see, it's creepy. And you have to tell yourself, as I was talking about in my live before, you have to choose what you should share and not share. So the courts, you're just as guilty for sharing this stuff. You're part of this sensationalism, TV sensationalism, getting stuff out. This is why we have all these arguments before court pertaining to information, tainting of a jury, jury polls. There's always this legal wrangling between the two, the state and the defense, of what should be allowed into court. He said, she said, past criminal record, past criminal history. And now you already got interrogations, information out of who said what, body cam footage of what the mom said, boyfriend said. Now we're hearing what people said in private, and maybe they don't want people to know what they said. I mean, eventually it's going to come out. Let's make that clear. It's going to come out. But everything should be at a proper time. Everything should be at a proper time. We know that if this man goes to trial, Stephen Stearns, which he would foolishly go with all the evidence, he's already put out a privacy policy against one YouTuber who has been putting out this information, who's been buying this information. I don't have to say the person's name. He knows who he is, and most of you probably already know. But I'm just saying, you should have known that was coming. You can't think because he's locked up, he's not hearing what is going on out here in the free world. They do talk in jail. They have lawyers, they have friends, they have family, they have access to iPads. People visit them, people talk, guards talk, inmates talk. People know what you're coming in for when you get there, just like when you go to prison. They already know who's coming in and what their charges are. Even in jail, they talk. Hey, what you in here for? Hey, what did you do? Hey, then people start yapping. Hey, he's in here for this. She's in here for this. So Stearns found out what's been going on out here in YouTube land. Oh, you all are sharing interviews of my parents and this person and what I said and what Jen said and blah, blah, blah. And now you know about what's found on my phone. Yeah, he ain't happy. Of course he's not happy. Of course he's not happy. He didn't want you knowing all of this before a trial started. And the people who were interviewed, they probably didn't want people to know what they said either in privacy. They weren't expecting all this to come out like months after the son got arrested. So is it ethical for the courts to sell crime scene evidence, private information, interviews, body cam footage? Should it be so? I say there's a time and a place for everything. Now, we are happy to get the information naturally, but the things pertaining to this case, the SoDo case, is so disgusting and vile. What was done to this child and years of abuse, this is why it's so jacked up, because it's pertaining to a child, and it's nasty and it's filth. This isn't your ordinary type of case, true crime case. We're talking about a minor. So when you're talking about releasing this type of information, you're also talking about a dead person who can't defend themselves. And whether she's 22 or 12 or 13, whatever, she's still a child. And at this point, she has no way to defend herself. She has no way to defend herself. And I think it won't matter. 13, 15, alive, deceased. It is a person's private business. And we're not thinking about that person, whether they're alive or dead. What's being said about them, what was done to them. Because they're photos. And as that guy said, oh, I've got photos, but naturally I'm not going to show them, blah, blah, blah. Crime scene photos. Thank you. Because you would have been flagged if you had. You already know that. Because we had this issue before with a YouTuber showing crime scene photos of a little boy that went missing, found dead, and yeah, people gave her the business. But this is what I keep trying to tell everybody. These are the same people you love following in behind. You love chasing. You love being in their chats. You love rooting for them. You love spreading their information to other people's networks. You love running in other people's chats, telling them, oh yeah, they got the tea, they got the photos, they got the information, they got the text. But then when they do something like that, post autopsy photos, now you feel some type of way about them. But that's who you were rooting for, remember? That's who you like. That's who you like. That's who you're rooting for. But I keep telling people that. Why complain? These are the people that you're supporting. Because this is what it's like up here on YouTube. Everybody's for you, and then you do something they don't like, then next thing you know, boom, they got a problem with you, unsubscribe. But this is what I'm trying to say. You don't know people. And this is why I was talking about social media earlier. There's a fine line of what we should be sharing and talking about and posting and commenting. We're all entitled to our opinion, but you see what posting can do and how things can get out of control. Second topic, this man here. A lot of buzz has been going around the past week about this man here. Allegedly, he's homeless. They said he had some type of accident. There are also rumors that possibly he's been walking around like this for 2 years, dating back to 2021. 3 years rather. So what happened to this man? How long has he been walking around like this? Horrible, horrible photo because of the obvious. Don't know if he actually was in the hospital. There are allegations he wanted to vape or smoke. They told him no, so he left. My thing is the severity of the wound. It's to the meat, okay, as we would say in the street. It's to the white meat. So literally, it's to the pink meat. And the pink part you can see right there, fleshy, looks like, you know, staples, whatever. It's horrible. And somebody else has a picture on their phone where they showed it. It looks different from a side angle, where it just looks like there's a deep hole in the middle, because that's the whole point. It depends on how many times he's actually talked to people and when they took a picture of him. Because the one other picture looks totally different than this picture here, where it's more fleshy looking. My point is, it's open. What is his cognitive reasoning at this point? While everybody's taking pictures and snapping pictures of him walking around Nashville, Tennessee, can he think? Can he reason for himself? Does he know his name? Does he know where he is? Are we talking of open flesh? And you got to use common sense. It's not covered with gauze if it was recent. So that means infection can set up. Bugs, gnats, whatever can feed off the flesh because it's open. You know? That's what gnats, ants, bugs do. They feed off of food. That right there is open tissue. They're feeding off of that. You don't even have to have an open wound to have a fly come around you, bite you, bee sting you. It's all the same. So that's dangerous, just having that open like that. So what happened to this guy? They say he's denying help, don't want help, don't know what's the truth, don't know what actually happened to this guy, don't know how long he's been walking around Nashville, Tennessee with this open wound. I'm here in the Tennessee area. I'm 3 hours from Nashville. I'm in Knoxville. I just caught wind of this last week, and I decided to share it with you this weekend. This was supposed to be a video from yesterday, but I got sidetracked with other information I had to bring you. Please check the YouTube queue for my shorts. I did another short today pertaining to breaking news. P. Diddy is still trying to upload something on Newsbreak that's taking forever to upload. Why I'm having problems, I don't know, but you know, that's how it is. But this here, I will do a short on this as well after this live stream. Who is this man? What is his problem? Is he from Nashville, Tennessee? How did he get to Nashville, Tennessee? How long has he been walking around with this open wound? What actually happened to him? Why is he denying help? What got him to the hospital if this was a recent incident? And why isn't the head covered with some type of gauze, loose gauze? Why not be inside where you can keep that wound accessible to healing? Because it's not going to heal out here. There are too many germs out here. And if he's homeless, you already know he's not clean. His hands aren't clean. Hygiene not clean. This is a recipe for disaster. And I can't see a person around 3 years like this with an open wound. Because if it was go, that should have already scaled up to dry skin. Let me make that clear. I don't care what happens to you. Surgery, you have a car accident, an infection. After a couple of months, your wound starts to heal unless there's something wrong with you. And there's no way I'm going to sit here and believe for 3 years he's been walking around with a fleshy scalp like that. You mean to tell me no skin ever covered itself? Even if hair can't grow, I would think it still would scab up. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. The cart before the horse. Is that just dry, pinky flesh because it's so deep and it ain't no skin to grow? I don't know. But I'm just saying, if it's recent, I can see why it would be fleshy. So like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a surgeon. We have seen people with many wounds to where when it's deep, it won't have no color to it for the obvious reason because it's so far down, you know, into the skin that the skin can't. There's no growth. It's dead. So I probably need to rephrase that. Maybe the skin can't grow if indeed a wound that has been years in the running. But what's sad is he's walking around and everybody's, you know, naturally gawking and looking, wondering, hell, what happened? What's wrong with his head? Because if you look carefully, right there, that's the front lobe. I mean, damn. You're almost talking to you ain't got but a little bit of hair left in the front. So is it affecting his thinking to roam, to know where to go? I guess, I don't know what to say because I don't know him. But yes, it is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. To see somebody walking around like that with a seriously open gape inside of their skull, and you don't know what happened, you don't know why they're walking around like that, why they're not covering their head. The least he could do is put on a toboggan or some type of headscarf or gauze or something to cover the wound. That's why I said maybe it's like that. It's been like that for a while, and it ain't nothing to, there's no skin to grow back. So it's just fleshy looking. See, I don't know. Because, I did say, well, wouldn't some type of skin, cover it, grow back? But I guess if it's dead, it won't, depending on the severity of the wound. Not really sure. Somebody would have to talk to him and ask him, hey, when did you have this injury? When is the last time you go to the doctors, seek help, blah, 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 to really know the truth of how long he's been walking around this way. But I wanted to share this with you because I know a lot of you have heard about this fella, and it's scary just seeing this photograph, and there's pictures of him. He's also walked up to somebody's car. They were talking to him. Don't know if he's asking them for help or whatever, or they were motioning him for help, but he's standing outside somebody's car. So a few people in the community have pictures of him walking down the street. As you see here, he's sitting out, minding his business, but it's scary looking at his head. And then one photo that the guy has where it's a side view, I mean, it's horrible. It looks worse than that, because you can look like from the side view, it's like there's a hole in the middle. Right here, it don't look like a hole right there, but the view that the guy had, this part in here looked just deep, like a gaping hole. So see, it could have been that somebody took the picture. Each person took the picture at a different time of seeing the man out walking around. I don't know. Well, that's the latest I have. Let me know how you feel about the selling and buying of crime scene photos. As I said, a lot of people have been uploading content pertaining to Madeline SoDo, sharing content, or shall I say, selling evidence on their YouTube channels pertaining to her, interviews of her mother, Stephen Stearns, his parents, the roommates, different people. And as I said before in my live stream earlier pertaining to social media and going too far with what we reveal and divulge, there's a time and a place for everything. And maybe this ain't the time to let all that stuff out about that little girl. Because like I said, this isn't your typical murder for hire. Somebody went missing, found in a field, found in a tub, found in a river. This ain't that type of hype. This ain't that type of story. We're talking about a child who had been sexually assaulted for years by the mother's boyfriend, and too many people sat around and noticed some type of sign that something wasn't right between she and that boyfriend. And what I have to tell myself is the obvious. If I can listen to the mother's commentary that she sent her child to a room with a man, she knew exactly what was going on with her child and probably knew beforehand that he had been touching her child. And she settled for that, okay? And if a roommate can say, hey, just want to let you know your child's in this room with this boyfriend of yours, and the mother still downplays it and says, oh, it's no big deal, then that means other people probably saw signs. So far we have testimony from at least 3 people that knew something wasn't right with this little girl and this guy. A roommate tells a story. His ex-girlfriend tells a story that he's confessing about sleeping with the little girl, cuddling her, only way that she can go to sleep. So now ask yourself, one stranger, one roommate, now count the relatives, people who are around them, anybody in the neighborhood, seeing them coming and going, may have noticed something, neighbors, people at the school, such as counselors, teachers, but didn't alert DHS, authorities, didn't call the mother in to talk to her. I find all this baffling because I always say that. Start counting on your fingers, those that suspect it. If you get 2 people who suspect it, there's more than 2 that also suspected it. So why are we even here at this juncture with a dead kid. That's my point. If 2 suspected it, 2 got conversations about it, then you know there's 2 or 3 more that also suspected it. Suspected something was wrong with the child, suspected something was wrong with her demeanor, something was wrong with her relationship with the boyfriend, the mother's boyfriend, knew that something was going on, but you didn't even think to inquire. Like with the counselor, why didn't you ask her? Well, why don't you like him? Why does he make you feel uncomfortable? I'm not going to sit here and let a child tell me this and then I don't inquire. That's my job. I'm a mandated reporter, and even if I wasn't a mandated reporter, I still would ask her, well, why does he make you feel uncomfortable? I'd ask her. I'd wait for her response. And then I still would alert somebody, such as her mother and the authorities. I don't like this conversation I had with one of my students. I think there needs to be an investigation into the household to check and make sure everything's on the up and up. And it's not to say that they wouldn't have investigated and found nothing. But let me tell you, if Jen SoDo would have told what she told the authorities months ago, that her child sleeps in the bed with her and a man, I think the child would have been removed immediately. Because I don't think no social worker is going to hear that information. Oh, she sleeps in the bed with you. Oh, you send your child up with the boyfriend. Oh, let me talk to the other roommates. And if they say, oh, yeah, she goes in there sometimes and I've seen them going in there and blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, that little girl's coming out of here. Oh, that fool would have let her stay there. So this could have been avoided. And then maybe the child would have went ahead and told the truth. Yes, I've been sleeping in the bed with my mother and him. Yes, he's been touching me. Yes, he's been penetrating me. Yes, I've been feeling funny down there. Whatever was going on, I think she would have told it. I honestly believe she would have told it. Yes. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Mind the children. That's my motto on this network. Too many people turn a blind eye, and then they love to go run to the news and tell their version. And I'm going to tell you right now, you don't get any respect from Queen. So everybody that was sitting in the interrogation rooms, those roommates, his parents, that ex-girlfriend, I don't give a fuck about none of you. You mean nothing to me. You're like everybody else. You weeping and moaning and crying and talking in circles, just like that one roommate. She's sitting in there interrogation trying to be all gangster about what we don't do and what we don't put up. We like this. You're contradicting yourself. You sound like a fool. What we don't put up with. Well, she's getting molested right up under your nose. What are you saying? And you must have been too good of a friend with the SoDos because the mother didn't invite you to the birthday party. Checkmate. See, I pay attention to everything. Oh, yeah, my child's near his Maddie's age, and oh, yeah, they grew up, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I'm friends with the sister, Jen's sister, but yet they didn't invite you to the birthday party. I find that strange. Why not? Your child is near the child's age. He sleeps in the same house with the child, but you're not invited to the birthday party? See, this is why I tell you don't nobody pay attention to nothing. I'm woke. I've been woke. The very reason why I don't want to keep talking about the SoDo case, for that very reason, because it's filthy. It's absolutely filthy. It's trash and it's garbage. And it's about a child. We're not talking about a grown woman who allows somebody to beat her up and misuse her, such as the situation with Cassie Ventura and all these other people coming out talking about Puff Diddy. Those are grown people. And I also want to talk about that later. How many people went back in with P. Diddy to continue being abused? Because that one guy, Mr. Oddie, he just told the story in that interview with the police years ago. He had numerous entanglements with Cassie and P. Diddy. So then people are going to start to wonder, well, okay, you now saying you got herpes from them. So did you go back and still sleep with them even after you got diagnosed? Stay woke, everybody. How many people went back in of being drugged, locked in a room, contracted a disease, all of that, and still went back to Puff Daddy's house, still let him call you again to come back to the house when you knew you were drugged, you knew you wanted to leave, couldn't leave, you knew he wouldn't pay you, because that's alleged as well. He didn't even want to pay the sex workers. Didn't want to let them go. How many went back? Because we heard this scenario with R. Kelly. Many of the women who claimed abuse by him, they still dealt with R. Kelly. Do you understand what I'm saying? They still slept with him. They still had sexual escapades with him and other women and men. They still let him do dirty, nasty things to them, urination, defecation, all that type of nonsense, they still went back in. And that's where a lot of people have the problem, because they are grown. It's not saying what he did was right, because there's a way of treating anyone, but you also have to stand account for how you allow people to treat you. Now, as for Maddie, her situation is different. She's a child. She's a child. She didn't have a say in her child rearing and her upbringing and who raised her. She didn't have no say in living with a mother on disability and popping pills and playing crazy and then allowing a man to sleep in the bed with them and molest her baby. It's all orchestrated to me. And at some point it is orchestration, because there's no way I can believe the woman didn't know. And if you willingly tell the police you let your child go in a room with a man, why would I not think it wasn't orchestrated? There's no other way to word it. You didn't give a fuck. So then you have to now ask yourself, how many more Maddies are there out here? How many other boys are out here being accosted? Okay? Because you should know there's another Madeline SoDo out here suffering. There's another Jen SoDo out here enabling and allowing this. So, and there's most definitely another Stephen Stearns out here preying on a child. It's just a matter of who's going to tell it. So you people with children need to talk to your children at a very young age of what appropriate behavior and touching is supposed to be. That no one is supposed to put their hand in your undergarments, nowhere. And no one is supposed to pull out any private parts in front of you. And you are not supposed to put your mouth on anything of a private part, period. You need to tell your children this. Because sitting around hoping they're going to learn it from the street, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. This is the very reason why most of us are messed up as it is, because nobody taught us the ways of the world and taught us about sex and taught us about love and affection and what good love is and what the world is about. Navigating, being responsible, taking care of thyself. Hell, how to balance a checkbook. Most of us didn't even have somebody show us how to balance a damn checkbook. Hey, you don't spend past this number here. You ain't got but this much in here, then you don't spend nothing. It's all the same. Sex education, yes, it needs to be implemented. And some people say, well, I don't want nobody teaching my kid about sex. Well, then you need to tell your child where a baby comes from. You need to tell your child where a baby comes from, how the baby is made. You need to tell your child what the parts do and don't do. And maybe you too ashamed, too shy, but it should come from you and not a stranger. And it definitely shouldn't come from a sadist touching your child and doing nasty things with your child. This man was doing all type of things with her, and we now know he was even doing it in the makeshift bedroom that was in the living room. So that means he didn't even care about being heard, because like I said, when you're engaging in sexual activity, you are not going to sit here and tell me you are quiet. And I'm not trying to be derogatory, but I'm keeping it real. He's a man. I'm supposed to believe while he's engaging in abuse of this baby, he was quiet. He didn't make no noise. Come on now. Let's stop this foolishness. Of course he did. Because he's an addict, a sex addict, he's a fiend, he's a sadist. He wouldn't be able to contain himself. So everybody's walking around, I didn't hear nothing, I was asleep, I ain't never heard no noises, I ain't never see this. Well, tell yourself this man was having abuse with a child and he wasn't making no damn moaning sounds. Come on, let's stop this. This is bad. This is really bad. So those are my questions. Selling and buying of evidentiary material. Should the clerk be selling crime scene evidence to the public? And should you be buying it and posting it to social media and putting it on TikTok videos or YouTube videos for likes, shares, and views? Because in one moment you can say, well, I'm doing this to inform the public, but then everybody else is going to say the same. Yes, you are profiting from it, and you are getting likes, views, and followers. You can't say that you're not, because that defeats the purpose of showing the information. So you have to call a spade a spade. Own it. Don't sugarcoat it. Own it. Thank you for your time. This was live number 2. Check out the earlier live where I do my rendition of social media. Have we gone too far in sharing our personal business, posting, sharing memes, comments, going live, our behavior in the live streams, posting our personal business, our pictures. Hell, same thing, crime scene accidents, being in a hospital, showing your children, venting about your love life, your marriage, this and that. Check out that live stream. I think you'll enjoy it. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeGanji 129 Cash App. Thank you for your time. Check out the shorts. Follow me on Newsbreak. Expanding my brand to other platforms. Thank you so very much. You've been listening to the Vault XL. Prayers for this man, because he needs prayers. He doesn't need to be out in public looking like this, because I got a funny feeling something else terrible is going to befall this man, because we don't even know if he's aware of his faculties, if he's cognitive or not. He appears to be homeless. That is the rumor pertaining to this man. Don't know his name, but he doesn't need to be out here. It's also been said the hospital is aware of him leaving the hospital in this shape, but nonetheless, this is not a place to be on the street with an open head wound, and the street isn't a place to be living. Whether you're aware of your faculties, you're in half-ass good shape, health, the street is not for you. Because people don't like to see a dog or a cat roaming the street. So we shouldn't have humans roaming the street. And yes, it is a choice to be on the street, and we have found that many people do like being homeless. You may not relate to that because you like having a warm bed, a roof over your head. But indeed, there are people out here that put themselves to the street and don't want any help. But my God, look at this man. This is unacceptable. Whether he wants to be out there or not, he does not need to be out there. Thank you for your time. Have a great week.